the childcare piece of this. We've heard from the advocates numbers that basically confirm what we've been hearing sort of anecdotally from JFO, or rather from the Agency of Education, on the number of students, number of small children who are involved, which is an estimate of what, it's estimates of this year's picture, not a picture of what it might look like in the future. And at this point, AOE hasn't been able to give JFO enough information for joint fiscal to make a projection. So we that's where we were yesterday, and that's where we still are today, basically. I'm sure that as this bill moves through the process, those numbers will come together, and other people will be looking at that. But we're just not, I had thought, if we had more information to share this morning, I would try and get that out to everybody, but we don't have that. So we're still where we were yesterday, and I think that's fine. Beth, if you want to just say, man, we don't need to go through line by line here at all, but happy to, take key questions from the committee on just confirmation about what's here. If you just want to show us the changes, maybe start with that.
Sure. Beth St. James, Office of Legislative Counsel. This will be easy. So the big changes you made were taking things out. Oh boy, there we go. The language that was added is just those federal citations to where the community eligibility and the provision to are codified. So these are the federal rules. And so anywhere CEP or provision 2 is mentioned, I put those federal citations. See it again there, and there. And then we removed, there was a appropriation here. We removed that. And then we removed the all reporting requirements that were new. And that's it. Those are the only changes since yesterday.
Okay. What page are we on now?
This is the last page. This is page 16.
16, okay, all right. Good. So maybe just we can go back to the top. So this is section 5 now. Is that the effective date? There is 5 sections?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we've reduced the bill to 5 sections. First section, findings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which I know we haven't spent a lot of time looking at that, but that's that's not the key policy changes there. So then section 2.
Section 2 is an amendment to the school food program subchapter. So you're going to see separate statutes within section 2 because it's an amendment to the entire subchapter. But section 2 is the school food programs updates, if you will, adding the universal meals program to the school food subchapter.
Okay.
And section 3 is adding the universal meal supplement award language to chapter 133 in title 16, which is the education fund chapter. Section 4 is the update to the local foods incentive grant program, just including and I did notice this yesterday, and I should have recognized this and flagged it for you earlier, but by including approved independent schools in this first subsection, you're requiring them to report to AOE about foods, locally produced foods, regardless of whether they're getting the grant or not. And then section 5 is the effective date.
Effective date is July 1st. Okay. And that works because the current authority expires June 30th. The situation we're operating under now.
It'll be like an 11:59 midnight situation.
Yeah. Okay. So questions and also anything that Julia might be able to address while she's still here. She has to leave in about 5 minutes. Representative O'Brien.
Beth, if you did a side-by-side from the session law
Mhm.
that we're operating under now, what sort of things stand out to you of like policy changes, not just like technical things?
So all the direction that you've given to AOE regarding who qualifies for the universal meal supplement in approved independent schools and childcare programs for pre-K programs, that's new. The direction to AOE to I don't want to misspeak here, that allowing them at the start of each school year may require that a school food authority begin a new cycle, that language allowing them to giving them a little extra power to maximize the drawdown of federal funds there. The second breakfast piece is new. Moving the way this will be treated it's not super analogous because last year was a 1-year program, but moving the reimbursement, the money piece to the Ed Fund chapter to treat it like categorical aid. I'm trying to think off the top of my head the other big changes.
When Vermont makes up the difference for reduced meals, does that come out of the Ed Fund or the general fund?
General fund.
And that will continue?
Yes. This bill does not touch that in any way.
Right.
And just to be clear, because of the way that Representative O'Brien asked the question, a lot of what you just mentioned as policy changes has in fact been the practice of AOE during session in terms of the things that we give them it's direction they asked to be put into words, but it has been how they've been interpreting some of it,
not all.
Yeah.
And if we had AOE come in, we could probably ask them to walk through that. But I think you're right. That some, but not all is right. Other questions? John.
Maybe one for you or maybe Julia. The 500,000 that was put aside for the local food incentive.
Yep.
Where was that in last year's budget? Was that?
So, last year, I think possibly the language of what we call Act 67 had a dollar appropriation in it for the fiscal year. I'm not sure, a one time.
It wasn't in the governor's budget?
Last year?
Yeah,
I'm not 100% certain.
yeah, I
Yeah,
can't
but
remember.
we could pull it up and look and see. I have a feeling it was actually it was written in, but I'm not positive. Beth, do you?
Last year, I believe this was a one-time, to fund the incentive grant program, I believe it was a one-time appropriation. Whether that was included in the governor's budget or added by the legislature, I do not know.
So, and just to be clear, there is no money appropriated for that program in this bill. If the committee agrees, we'll add it in our memo to the appropriations committee next week for the 500.
And it's not in the governor's budget either.
Right, yes, yeah, and we'll have the secretary back in and we can just make sure he knows we're putting it in there too, and we can follow up on that question. I don't know if I mentioned this yesterday, where this bill will be going next, because there's money involved, it has to go to Ways and Means. It also has to go to appropriations because the original bill has an appropriation in it, and the rules say that bills that, no matter what we do to them, if it starts out with an appropriation, it has to go to appropriations. So what will happen next, we've got, the clerk will, if you get a motion, I'll ask for a motion, and then the clerk will call the roll for twice. The first is to amend the bill that we've got. And if that passes, if we agree to amend the bill, then we will actually vote on the amended bill, recommending the amended bill to send to the floor. And I had to double check that this morning and was told by, I think, a reliable source that that's what we need to do. So just to cover our bases anyway, we'll have those two votes. So any questions about that?
So it wouldn't go to the floor right away though, right? It would go
To other
the
committees?
money committee
Yeah,
first.
so it will show up on the notice calendar and it will look like it's going to the floor, but then it will be referred to money committee,
Okay.
one or the other of the money committees. So we probably, I mean, today's Friday, I don't know how quickly it'll move through there, but it might be a while before we actually have it on the floor. So I'll ask if anybody would like to move the draft that we've got be amended as it appears. Anybody would like to make that motion? Okay.
I'll second.
So you can,
Yeah, the wordage on this, but so we'll be voting on draft 3.1,
Strike all?
straight call amendment, yeah.
strike all
Yeah.
amendment.
You can use the right-hand column there for the first one.
Okay, so Representative Esme Cole,
Yes.
Representative Rodney Graham,
Yeah.
Representative Josie Levitt,
Yes.
Representative Jed Lipsky,
Yes.
Representative John O'Brien,
Yes.
Representative Henry Pearl, yes. Representative Mike Rice,
Yes.
Representative Heather Supernaut,
Yes.
Representative David Templeman,
Yes.
Representative Charles Wilson,
Yes.
Representative David Durfee.
Yes. All right, thank you. And now we'll need a motion to recommend the bill as amended.
So moved.
Do we need a second?
We do need a second.
There you go.
And you can write down who's made the motion, who seconded it.
Alright, so voting on draft 3.1, school food programs, universal school meals as amended. Representative Esme Cole,
Yes.
Representative Rodney Graham,
Oh.
Representative Josie Levitt,
Yes.
Representative Jed Lipsky,
Yes.
Representative John O'Brien,
Yes.
Representative Henry Pearl, yes. Representative Mike Rice,
Yes.
Representative Heather Supernaut,
Yes.
Representative David Templeman,
Yes.
Representative Charles Wilson,
No.
Representative David Durfee.
Yes.
And the vote is 9-2-0 in favor.
All right, thank you, committee, for all of the work that we've done, all the time we put into it. I will tell you that I've heard so many times from a variety of sources how much they appreciate our committee spending so much time on a bill that most of us didn't know very much about when we came into it. So, appreciate everyone's work and patience as we have put other things aside to work on this bill.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
As we contemplate our committee responsibility with the three-tiered umbrella, do you consider this bill comes under the tier of food resiliency?
That's, yeah, I mean,
That's
why
been
it
a
was-
big part of our.
sure. Representative O'Brien.
Beth, do you follow the bill along now through the money committee?
It is mine, yep.
So when the time comes, you could do for this committee a side by side.
But don't we need to sign and this doesn't?
The clerk will,
Never.
it's all electronic now. It used to be an actual piece of paper that had to be guarded.
Contamination.
Good, all right, well, I think we're done for now. We have two things on the agenda for later in the morning after the floor. I don't have a sense of when that might be, so we'll just come back 10 minutes or so after the gavel.
We'll wait for your announcement.